Sitting in with a hat on.
We ended up only walking about halfway each time, except for one night we walked all the way home. We were like right in the lull that all the rides had already been taken.
I'd like to call to order the Avalon City Council meeting of Tuesday, May 3rd. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Place hand over heart and begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Pastor Enrique Dominguez will be leading us in our invocation this evening. Thank you.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the blessing of being able to live on this island. Thank you for all the folks that live here, Lord God. We pray, God, that every decision that is made tonight, that it would bless you and it would bless all those that live here. Now, Father, we ask for wisdom. We ask for guidance. We ask for peace in the midst of all the decisions that are made. Have your way. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. And Denise, the roll call, please.
Councilmember Cassidy.
Here.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Here.
Councilmember Sampson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Olson.
Here.
And Mayor Marshall.
Here. Announcements? Any announcements? Written communications?
I have none.
Okay. City Attorney report?
Yes, we have 2 items just to let the council know that the agreement for the underwater art has been on the desk of our artist for about a week and a half. We haven't heard from them yet. They are having the Museum of Contemporary Art look at it as well. So that's where we are in that. And then second, at the last meeting, you had asked me for an update on the legislation regarding the funding availability for the Edison work that the city is contractually obligated for. They still have not completed the application form for that. And the reason for that is that we're still working with them to make certain that those funds can be retroactive, in other words, for projects that were completed before the application comes out. And so that's what they're struggling with. We've got 2 attorneys working with them almost on a daily basis to try and get this done. But again, it's still not done. So we can't apply for the funds because there's no application yet.
Is this a Prop 1 funds?
Yes.
Okay.
And written communications? City Attorney? Nothing, that's it? Okay, and other announcements? This isn't really the oral communications part. This is just any announcements?
I'll be quick. Ernesto Lizarraga from Transportation Concepts, I got his last name kind of right, has been on the island. Hopefully you've seen him around. They've secured housing. He's going to be the project manager for our new Fixed Route and Dial a Ride program. The general manager, Brett, has been over here quite frequently too. We're hoping at the next council meeting to have an actual phone number to get out there to the public. And it's moving ahead.
Great.
So I just wanted to introduce Ernesto, who's here in the audience tonight.
Yeah. Thank you, Ernesto. Welcome back. Mm-hmm. Good luck. I know you guys are hustling. There's a lot going on. I know. Thank you. Any other announcements? Okay. Oral communications. This is an opportunity for people from the community to speak on an item which is not on the agenda. I'm just moving right along, aren't I, today? Thanks. Okay,
That's okay. You can come back to us.
We've had a few easy meetings, so I'm kind of lost my.
Now you jinxed us.
No joke. Yeah. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Yes.
Ron Kalish, Catalina Choices, and Avalon School. I would like to present to our community. We are presenting the Parent Project starting this next Wednesday. It'll be for parents for the ages for 11 on up, kids 11 on up. I'm confusing this whole thing up here really bad. Okay. Anyway, it's for the parents so that we can provide them with information to improve child's performance in school, reduce family conflict, and harmful teen behaviors, prevention, intervention, and the use of alcohol and drugs, and find help and resources, and empowering parents and transforming teens. And this is by the Parent Project. And so if any of the parents in our community would like to attend, it's paid for by the Avalon School Programs, and we have we were chosen to be able to bring this here. And so that will be next Wednesday, May 11th, starting at 5 o'clock, and it will go from 5 to 8 o'clock. And there is child care for the ages of 4 and up that will be provided.
Excellent. And where's the location? I'm sorry if I
It'll
missed
be at
that.
Avalon Schools.
Okay, excellent.
I'm going to share it a little in Spanish for those that may be watching. Parent Project en la escuela cambiará su vida comenzando miércoles 11 de mayo 2016 para padres de alumnos de 11 a 18. Todos los miércoles a las 5 hasta las 8 de la noche. Es una serie de 6 semanas, matriculación gratuita en la escuela Avalon. Cuidado de los niños es gratis y prometemos respuestas concretas para cada pregunta que tenga. No vuelva a discutir con su hijo o hija, mejorar la asistencia y rendimiento académico, prevenir o intervenir en uso de alcohol y otras drogas y encontrar recursos para ayuda. Regístrese ya, llama a 310-510-0790. Gracias.
Gracias. Thank you. Excellent. Any other? Oh. Those aren't ashes, are they?
Hello, I'm John King, representing abetteravalon.com. Definitely need these days. First, let me congratulate all the candidates for your successful campaigns and for your bids for re-election. It was an interesting election, no doubt. Avalon saw the emergence of political action committees telling us who to vote for and who not to vote for. I want to make clear that abetteravalon.com is not a political action committee. The effort is not designed to support or oppose any candidate or ballot initiative. abetteravalon.com is about collecting and sharing information to educate and give voice to community members. During the election, we did a couple of surveys. Our last survey was posted just before the election, and it was suggested in that survey that we might vote more wisely by simply ranking the candidates according to the needs of the city of Avalon for good leadership, integrity, transparency, ability to deal with complex issues, financial acumen, county connections, and vision. These are the same qualities that we used in our year-end survey. You win elections by your ability to get votes, but you win the hearts of your community and a place in the history of Avalon by serving for the betterment of all. And sometimes in the service of that community, you get rewarded. I promise to return to this council to award Council Member Ole Olson for being recognized by the community members of abetteravalon.com as a Council Member of the Year for 2015. I want to congratulate Council Member Olson as the first recipient of this reward. Ole has shown excellent leadership on the council, is known as having high integrity, deals well with complex issues, understands the financial consequences of decisions, is transparent in his efforts, and has a vision for a better Avalon. Thank you and congratulations.
Sorry, it took so long. Thank you, John. Appreciate that.
That's a lovely trophy. Very good. John.
There's no ashes. We'll use to carry ashes.
It's quite lovely.
Thanks, John.
David Hart, City of Avalon's Recreation Department. We successfully finished our youth basketball program. We had 167 participants this year, and each child at the end got a participation medal as well as a basketball. And then there was individual awards that were put out as well, well over 250 awards given during this event. We want to be able to thank all our volunteer coaches for finding time in their days to enrich and teach each child the game. We could not do it without you. We really do appreciate that. A couple events coming up this weekend. First of all is the Old Boy Rugby Tournament, which will be held Saturday, May 7th, up at Joe Machado Field from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. An absolute blast to watch. And then also, it is happening. The Catalina Classic Downhill Skate Race will be happening this weekend as well. Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. will be the pre-qualifiers. On Saturday will be the final races from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. as well. And then Sunday they've added what they call a free skate. If you have if you fill out your insurance paper, you have all your skid gear, your leathers, you can ride with your favorite professional rider. As well as a lot of the riders will be doing video shoots that day, and you'll see some really fast skating then as well. The race is on Wrigley Road, and the road will be open every half hour to allow traffic through, for at least give 5 to 10 minutes to allow the traffic through, or when needed. So we ask for the community, for their patience as this race is going on, and please come out and check it out. I think you'll be amazed and thrilled to see the speed in which they go. Then next Saturday at 4 p.m. will be the Kick It Up Avalon dance recital at the high school auditorium. So come watch over 30 students perform ballet, tap, jazz, hip-hop. Again, that will be 4 p.m. Saturday at the school auditorium.
The 14th.
Oh, May 14th. Excuse me, that's next Saturday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to. I thought he was just adjusting for him, for Jim.
Adjusting for me.
Okay.
Jordan Monroe, management aide for the city of Avalon. 2 quick announcements. One on the progress of our AV upgrade. We're getting ready to launch our new live streaming service. So we will no longer be using livestream.com/City of Avalon, which can be found by clicking the Watch City Council meetings or Watch Planning Commission meetings from cityofavalon.com. It will be hosted through Granicus, which is a service provider built for municipalities. So it integrates our agenda with the meeting. It timestamps the agendas. So when you go back to watch the archive meetings, you can click on the agenda item that you're interested in, and it'll take you to that point. So everyone who's used to watching from our live stream site or from the live stream app, we're hoping actually for the first of next month to completely transition out of that and onto our Granicus site, which will also be accessible by clicking those Watch the City Council meeting or Watch the Planning Commission meeting buttons. If you'd like to beta test it for us, you're welcome to go and see it. It is up and broadcasting right now. It's cityofavalon.com/meetings with an S. We have it streaming in both locations right now as we're kind of testing it out. So just a heads up for everyone, we have it posted on our live stream account. That account will be shutting down shortly. The other announcement is just today we had notarized 2, release resolutions to receive insurance payment from the storm damages that we filed from 2014, Hurricane Marie and the Avalon Complex. The numbers that were received for damages to Pebble Beach Road, the seaplane ramp, storm gates, as well as a few other items around town, comes out to be just over $1 million. So we're really excited about that return. We're really appreciative of the insurance being diligent and working with us and helping come out and do the assessments and doing actually a reassessment to determine that we did qualify. So we're excited about that, and we still are processing the state's disaster relief CDAA funds, and so we anticipate some funds coming in from that as well. That was a pretty exciting development.
Great news. Thank you. Any questions on that, council or
That's great.
public? No? Great. Okay.
They have something to say.
Who?
Julie?
Did you want to, I think,
She's here for the chamber.
what's that? I think she was going to
She's
maybe
with-
wait. Did
with
you
the
want to
chamber.
talk now? Excuse me. I think she was going to wait till we were on that one item on the agenda before she spoke on that specific agenda item. Correct, Julie? Okay. Okay, let's go to council member reports. Who would like to start? Or finish?
I'll go. I will be attending Gateway Cities Council of Government tomorrow night. On Thursday, along with the mayor, the Los Angeles County Older Americans Recognition Awards Luncheon to recognize Zella and Diane Stone. And then Friday with the Catalina Island Medical Center, a luncheon for the Daisy Award for Extraordinary Nurses. Busy council week.
Yes, it is. Okay. Councilman Hernandez.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. One, I want to make sure that we're getting clear, because I know we've been kicking this horse around for a while, at least for the last 3 years, about getting a developer's fee established for the city, for all our infrastructure in the city. And I would like to see some kind of going forward with this, and where do we start, and get an update on it by the next meeting. It's either developer's fee or contractor's fee. We need to establish that now with all these projects that are getting planned to get going here. We're missing out on some money for development and infrastructure. I think it's very important. So I'd like to see some kind of progress or some kind of information that we can get that going. Would that be okay?
No, totally agree.
And one other thing I wanted to, maybe this one would be for Dennis. I was kind of watching the gas dock, the casino gas dock out there, and I was watching some of the pilings that were going in, and they were kind of, I didn't quite understand it. It looked like there was some kind of piers that they were putting the pilings on and pushing them down there. I guess it's an engineer thing, and I'm far from that. But who is ultimately responsible for that if something goes haywire down there? Is the city responsible for that, or is it the engineer? I mean, it just looked kind of interesting to me. It's a different layout.
Yeah, no, so that's a legal question. So there's two people. So
wrong guy. Sorry, Dennis.
Our agreements provide that the engineer is responsible for any damages caused by the design and any fault in the design, planning, etc. So the engineer is responsible for that.
Okay.
And then if there's any problem with the construction, in other words, if it's not constructed properly, our agreements provide that the contractor that builds it is responsible. So we've got, it depends on what the issue is, what the problem is, but we are covered in both sets of agreements with the people that are actually doing the work, because we pay them to do the work, and in exchange, they say, we're going to take care of you if anything goes wrong.
The engineer is fully insured, Councilman, but thank you for this opportunity, because I've been hearing from the public a lot of concerns, and I want to give you a brief history of what happened. Prior to your election, prior to this city council, the city spent over $300,000, excuse me, to design this fuel dock with the past capital improvements director. And he designed it with concrete piers, concrete, which is the best. That's what we should have done. He brought it to the past city council, and they unanimously decided, no, we want to build it out of timber to save money. So then the city hired another engineer, Blue Water Design Group, and we're over $225,000 now in design, and that is the project that we're installing now out of timber. If in fact we had gone with concrete, we wouldn't be having this discussion right now, unfortunately.
Okay.
But we had to act with what the council decided back then. And the engineers, we have two engineers that are holding steadfast with their design. They say it's designed properly, and we're hanging our hat on that. I wish that we had, back in the day, decided to go with concrete that would have been heavier and have been embedded in the ocean floor more. But we're pretty confident right now that this pier is going to work. Unfortunately, the reasons that the past city council wanted to go to timber instead of concrete was because at that time concrete would have cost around $3 million to install. Well, this project's about 2.9 right now. So the escalation in labor and materials cost us a lot of money. I don't think we're getting an inferior project, but it would have been better with concrete had we acted at that point in time. We've been watching the installations. The engineers have been out there. They're quite confident with all the embedments, the bolts, and everything else. We have some issues developing right now with unforeseen conditions. The substructure is different than the geotechnical engineers thought, but we're fighting those. The project's delayed another month. We have issues, more issues with the seawall that we're fixing this next couple weeks. And we're not quite on schedule, but we're going to develop a good project in the end run. So if you have any more questions on the fuel dock, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we've talked about this a couple times, that there has been a couple members of the community who had an interest in learning more about it. So my general response has been that the engineered plans are available for review, and that you would be able to assist in reviewing those plans if a member of the public wanted to come in and...
Definitely,
okay,
yeah.
so that's been my standard response as well.
Yes, ma'am. They're in my office and be happy to go over them with anybody. The it's easy to sit back and criticize the project, but it's being installed as designed, and as the city attorney mentioned, he's a registered, qualified civil engineer, and he's backing his product.
Good. I appreciate that. Thanks, Dennis.
Yes, sir.
Well, but since we got you up here,
okay.
How are we doing on the railing, the fencing on Pebbly Beach Road?
We're doing good. There was a delay. The chain link fencing gets epoxy coated. It's a dark brownish color, and that took 3 or 4 weeks longer than we thought. Actually, the panels are on the barge now.
Okay.
They're going to be stacked over here at the Field of Dreams, and they're going to be starting to install them on Monday.
Excellent.
That process should go fairly quick. So they're going to, I don't know exactly what portion of the project they're going to start, but they're going to start installing them. And it's going to look pretty good here pretty quick.
Okay.
Museum stairs, we've had a couple of issues there. The sewer line has gotten in the way of a couple of the footings, so we had to redesign the footings and the locations. There's a couple-week delay there, but the museum stairs are ongoing, and they're working there right now. Okay?
Thank you. Now you got
You're
your
welcome.
hands full. Thank you. Anything else, Councilmember? Okay. Councilmember Sampson?
I'd just like to mention a few things. Last couple meetings, we have requested Ron Height to come in from Southern California Edison to give us some updates so we could possibly ask him some questions about what's going on with stage 2 and 3, and just basically what is the state of affairs of our water. And a lot of ratepayers are inquiring about this. So at this point, maybe we should ask for a formal request from the council, writing a letter to Edison asking them to please show up to one of our meetings so that we could have the public and ourselves ask Edison about, from the top brass, that's upper management, what is going on with our water, what's going on in the interior, as far as these new wells that are being drilled down at Cottonwood, exactly why are they being drilled, and what's the status of what's going on out there with that water. Also, in conjunction with that, I think it's about time that we actually have somebody from the Catalina Island Conservancy come in, and we can ask them some questions about what's going on with the Conservancy, the interaction between the Conservancy and the City of Avalon, because we haven't had anybody from the Conservancy come up and speak in the 2 years that I've been a city councilman, and I would like to be a little more interactive with the Conservancy and work with them a little more closely as to what some of the contributing effects that the Conservancy has on the city and vice versa. So I would like to ask if I could get the city council's approval to write letters to the Conservancy and to Edison, so we could have some representatives come in and basically ask them about what's going on, let's say, at Escondido with the contamination down there, what's going on with the water, what's going on with all the trees that are being planted, how are they being watered, are they being watered with our drinking water? There's hundreds of trees that have been planted in the interior, and I'm just concerned about how those trees are going to be watered and the sustainability of our water supply. At this point, I'm not sure it's the greatest timing to be going at agriculture so aggressively when we're trying to cut back on water. So those are my concerns this week, and I'd like to ask for the council's approval to inquire about that, if we could.
Yeah, if I could perhaps make a recommendation. We all know that people get a little gun shy about coming up here. And so perhaps in the spirit of cooperation, perhaps if there are specific questions that you have or that any of the council have, we put those in a letter, so then when they come, they know what we're asking. Because to just have them come up here kind of and then go, oh, and what about this and what about that, I think anybody who's prepared creates a much better dialogue than if they come on defensively. So if you wouldn't mind writing, because like the tree thing, probably a very good question. I don't know anything about any trees. So I think to write those questions down so they are prepared when they come might be helpful.
Absolutely, that's a great suggestion.
And I did get a call from Adeline today that said she wasn't going to be able to make it. And kind of the same thing with Ron Height. If, we're trying to build bridges, and I think if we have specific questions that he can be prepared to answer, maybe he'd be a little more willing to come up as we're trying to work cooperatively. I think that might be a great idea. So if you have specific questions of Ron Height, other than we'd like to see his face, that might be nice, because I don't know what their protocol is in their organization, that they have the PR person, and I know sometimes we don't feel like we might get the complete answer, but I think as specific as we can be, that would help them prepare to come forward.
And Joe, if you could work with me, I think I wrote down most of your bullets there, but if you could just meet with me so I make sure I address all of that in the formal letters to the Conservancy and to Edison. I can tell you that Ron Height is attending the first meeting in June. I think that's June 7th, because we will be discussing residential desal units. There's going to be a presentation. Both Sean Haggerty, who's been working with us on the processing and permits and issues, is going to be here with Ron Height. So maybe that could be a joint meeting for him to address.
That sounds good. We'll do that.
What was that meeting? June
7th, is that the first?
June 7th,
Tuesday?
okay. I just want to make sure that we let Allison Ozinski know, because I know that's been something she's been after for a couple of years.
Yes.
That'd be great.
I told one of the contractors who's been asking me to.
Yeah, I'll send her an email. I follow your sentiments exactly. I would love to have us build some bridges, and I would like to see more participation at the council meetings, but it is really hard to go to a meeting and not know what questions you're going to be asked. And so, as they've done in the past, if they know ahead of time, they can have particular people from other departments who are specialists in whatever the questions are. We get much better responses from them. So I feel that Jeff Lawrence has done a fabulous job of keeping us apprised of Phase 2 water rationing. He's been here on a monthly basis. He's given us updates. He's given us every bit of information that we've asked from him in the past, as well as we've made that information public. So being prepared is the way to go.
So because it's not on the agenda, the appropriate action would be to direct staff to draft letters to Edison and the Conservancy with specific requests from the council. We'll send those letters off. Denise would send those letters off with a request that they come to a specific council meeting and answer those questions. That's allowed under the Brown Act for the council to provide direction to staff to bring it information, which is exactly what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Also, I think you'd include RUSAC on that, because for the report on Escondido, we need to get RUSAC.
Okay, that sounds good too.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Mayor Pro Tem?
My turn. Last week, I went to Sacramento for the League of California Cities Legislative Day. That's when they try to get as many elected officials up there to bang the doors and walk the halls of the state capitol, talk to our assemblymen, talk to our state senators. The big push this year is homeless and housing. And luckily, our assemblymen and our state senator are both aware of those issues and are going to attempt to support them all they can. We've also taken them a box of saltwater taffy so they can pull off their caps.
Okay, is that all?
Oh, and I'm going to go to SCAG on Thursday.
Okay. And I'd just like to say, Councilmember Cindy and I,
I'm Cindy.
it has to be
Well,
Cindy
I'm
Magoo and
good.
Cassidy. And I attended the Choices task force meeting that Rhonda put together last week. It was absolutely wonderful. I think there was 15 of us, from law enforcement to school to church to Rhonda. I mean, it was wonderful. Island Company, and we talked about a united front in trying to tackle the alcohol and drug problem and the concern over our young people and our adults. So we had a great meeting. We're going to come up with a mission statement that's already circulating amongst the emails today. And we're going to then be working out some goals for the group, and it's very exciting in terms of who's continued to be involved, funding opportunities, and those kinds of things. And we'll garner the support from all of these agencies and whoever else we need to pluck from. But we really want to try to get a handle on having respect for our island and respect for ourselves was kind of the theme. And so we'll be reporting on this on a regular basis, because this is a call to action that I think everybody there is willing to work on. So it's very good. And thank you, Rhonda, for heading this up. And Angie from the school is very helpful also. And Judy was there. It was just a great meeting. So thank you. And I'm going to New Orleans on Friday, so I'll be gone for about 4 or 5 days.
Just as a side conversation, since we're all talking about different things that we're attending, I know Oli participates in a couple of the sections of the league, and I do the Gateway Cities Council on behalf of the city. Do you do the mayor's?
Yes.
You're part of, is it the league, the mayor's meetings for the league, or?
No, it's county. But
County.
Eric Garcetti does it.
Okay.
He does it.
So I don't know, Joe and Richard, if you guys have any interest in maybe taking on like contract cities or SCAG so that we have representation in all of the different groups that we participate in, kind of pay into. I don't know if you guys have any interest, but it'd be great if everybody kind of did not or participated on a level that could bring in that information back to the city.
Well, I'm really busy, but I'll look into it.
And maybe we could give some other ideas. I mean, like you go to the community services one,
Revenue Tax and Community Services.
Revenue Tax and community service, so the two separate ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. But something like that, I don't know, Joe, but maybe we can get a list of what other kinds of things, because there might be some other committees that you like, because I think the more information we can bring back, since we have such a limited staff, and they can't be everywhere. So the more we can spread out, divide and conquer, and get information and get new ideas to bring forward that the staff can work with, and then we can share and perhaps talk a little more intelligently about options and things that we see, that would be very beneficial to the council and to the community as well. So
Absolutely. What's the chance of reaching out to some of these organizations and maybe see if we could get a workshop done over here so it's not so financially taxing on us? Not just the taxpayers, but myself.
So
Because
the Contract Cities Association, and that's the association that has cities with contracts with the county, they're actually having their fall conference in Avalon. And they've already advertised that. So that'll be, I think, the first week in October. And so they'll be here. The issue that these organizations have had in the past is their meetings are at night, and most of the people show up for an hour and then they leave. And so you could have a meeting here in Avalon, but you'd have to work with them to make certain that they get off we either have a special boat for them, which I think Contract Cities is arranging, or we have an early meeting of their group so they can get on the 7:30 boat. But you know, we're active. Our office is active. I know Oli's active with Contract Cities. So it's something. The other big group is Independent Cities Association. That's a group where cities have their own fire or police. So you'd qualify for membership in that one because you have your own fire department. They have 2 conferences a year, and they have meetings quarterly. So we could try and get them to come over here.
Mm-hmm. And have you ever asked the community service people to come over this way? Or do you think that's something I didn't?
The way the league works is they do all the community meetings on Thursday, Friday, and there's like 10 committees. And so they have to bring them all over here. What we could do is we could talk to the LA County section of the League of California Cities and have their monthly meeting over here. They move that around the county.
They move it, yeah, each one is in a kind of a different.
I'll talk to talk to Jennifer.
And I know I've been trying to get the mayors to come over, but they
Yeah.
keep saying now it's on the top of their list, but it's just time.
There's
But
just so much really great information
Yeah.
that I know.
yeah, I agree. Okay, that's all I had. Okay, moving on to presentations. You want to take it away, Cindy? You've got the first one.
Sure. Am I reading from here?
Do you want me to speak a little bit first? Because I made a slide for where we'll do the proclamation, if that's all right.
That would be perfect.
Okay. So, just get my focus here. So, good evening, Mayor, Council members, Jim Lujahan, Catalina Island Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau. And as I'm sure you are aware, it is National Travel and Tourism Week. And in particular, today is Travel Rally Day. So, all around the country today, people who do my job have been going to their local governments, their regional governments, their state governments, and making presentations for their community to become just a little bit more aware of the importance of tourism. And on this island, it's a bit of a no-brainer, but I'm doing my due diligence, and I'm going to celebrate with all of you just one more time the importance of visitors to our community. Oh, no. There it is. Okay. So some of the highlights that I'm going to address, and I'll be really quick. This is not my September, annual report. This is just a quick little celebration here. I'll give you some snapshots on California tourism and on Catalina Island tourism. Tell you about our ambassadors and how you can be one. And some of what's new with our work here at the Catalina Island Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau. And in particular, I want to start right off by showing you something new here. And Jordan set me up here, so. So that I can do this. Oh, shoot. That's not the right one. There it is. Okay. 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 Is that showing on your monitors now, too?
Very good.
That is the cover of the homepage for our brand new website, which we just launched this week. And it's still a little bit of a work in progress. We're working out the bugs. When you navigate from old technology to new technology, there's always a few issues, but I'm very proud of the work that my staff and that our agency have done on this. It is a much more user-friendly, much more beautiful site than we previously enjoyed. And technology has evolved so that we can have these giant hero images now on our throughout our website, and we do. And I'm not going to take you all the way through it, but I encourage you and the members of the community to go and play on there and look around. And if you do find a dead link or find something that's not loading, let us know, because those are the bugs we're fixing right now. And it's not going to let me scroll. I was going to show you something down at the bottom of the page, but it's not going to let me scroll right now. So I'll just close that. The website address, by the way, is catalinachamber.com. So the next thing that's brand new that actually the equipment just arrived on the island this morning, we're working with Google for a program called Trekker. And you may be aware that when you go to most communities around the world, you can look, especially on your mobile devices, for using a program that's called Google Street. And it'll give you point-by-point directions either on foot, on bike, or by vehicle. And it will show you a storefront or landmarks along the way. If you've tried to do that here, you probably know that almost every business on the island, or at least in Avalon, tiles up over the location of the post office, because those are our official addresses for just about everything that we do here. Google has heard our plea, and they moved us way ahead on the pipeline for bringing a Trekker device over to the island so we can not only map our streets in Avalon, but I beg to get it long-term, and we've got an agreement with both the Island Conservancy and with the operators at Two Harbors to map our trails and our campsites as well. And so I'm just going to show you that the Grand Canyon got out ahead of us on this, but there's a quick little snippet here. So I guess maybe that wasn't showing on all of your monitors as well, but there's a backpack device that a hiker can carry around the trails. There's also a vehicle mount so that the Conservancy will be able to drive with four-wheel drive vehicles on all of the roadways that you or I could then navigate on foot or on our bikes. And then we'll use a vehicle mount in the city as well to do all of our streets and hopefully get all of our businesses properly pinned on Google Maps for their actual locations. And that ties right back into our website, because our new website is fully interactive with Google Maps, and so we need those addresses and places to work.
Just real quick, just a question. Does it show like city parks and public bathrooms and things like that on there as well?
It will.
Oh.
Yes. So another thing that we're doing this week in celebration of the National Travel and Tourism Week is we are hosting California tourism here on the island. We're having what's called the Dream Big Luncheon tomorrow. We named it that. The state of California is currently using globally a campaign that is called Dream Big, and you may have seen the TV commercials that depict that subject matter. And earlier today, a team of 4 representatives from state tourism arrived on the island. I met them and checked them into their hotels. And so tomorrow at 11:30 out at Catherine's Terrace, we'll be hosting Carolyn Batetta, who's the president and CEO of Visit California, for a presentation and a luncheon. On the 11th of May, we'll be hosting once again a Serve Safe training. That's for our restaurant staff members to be able to come and get their certification, which lasts for 5 years at a time in safe food handling. And we're working diligently on getting a Spanish language instructor to come over and do the same program soon after, but we don't have that date confirmed. This will once again be the English instruction that's been confirmed. Then island ambassadors, I alluded to that just a moment ago, and I'm actually going to advance here. So the Island Ambassadors is a program that we're going to be developing more fully in the coming months, and it will range in everything from making, hopefully in partnership with Avalon Schools, a presentation during a school assembly, all the way up to frontliners coming for customer service training, fully bilingual, Spanish and English, becoming acquainted so that you can make really informed recommendations when any of us are asked on the street or asked in our places of business where someone should go or what they should do or how they can do it. And the worst case scenario, and there will be some secret shopping going on, so you're all warned in advance of this. We're going to have people who appear to be just visitors going around businesses and asking questions. the worst thing that can happen is the shrug shoulder or I don't know or that doesn't exist when in fact it does. And the more informed answers should be, I'm not sure, but I'll find out for you, or go right over here on the Green Pier, that's where our visitor center is, they'll help you, that sort of thing. But even better, if you can make a first-hand reference of, oh my God, that was the best thing I ever did, you got to go there, you got to try that. That sort of enthusiastic delivery is what we shoot for. You may be aware, too, that we have recently acquired a webcam, which is now operational, and it is mounted on a person's home up on Upper Terrace. I won't identify the person, but they made a sweet deal with us for where that could be mounted. And we've also acquired an asset that was developed by Drew Mock of the of Catalina Island Marketing. He had built an island app, and we've acquired that. So both of those systems are now integrated into that new website as well. And the app, again, that Google mapping function is really important for that functionality, and that's a big part of how people do navigate around our community now. And then another thing that we're anxiously awaiting an approval on is our building permit for visitor center renovations. We're hoping that's going to get underway very soon. We've ordered all of our materials. We've got our design firmed up. And we're just waiting for that to get approved so we can start on that and be done, we hope, in about a 3-week period before the main visitor traffic comes to us in the summer. And then the final thing that began this week, we've had a lot happen this week, is we began our visitor profile study. And so over the course of the next 12 months, we will have a survey taker meeting people on the mole, on the pier, at Descanso Beach, at the airport in the sky, at the helicopter pad, and going through about a 10-minute interview with those people about how they came to the island, length of stay, size of visitor party, some of their spending patterns while they were here, and so on. And by doing it over the course of 12 months, we will have data that represents weekday visitation, weekend visitation, peak season visitation, off-peak, holiday, and special events. So we've built a timeline for all of those intercepts that will allow those sorts of segmentation of the data once it's complete.
Can that visitor survey go on your website as well?
It absolutely will, and it's the kind of information that even many of our nonprofits would want to use when writing a grant proposal, because it would have information they might want to reflect. It's the kind of information that a hotel appraiser often asks us for, because they want to know about that if they're forecasting for a property and giving it a value. It has many, many applications. It will even inform us perhaps on where we should be spending our media dollars. If we find out that we've got a larger group of visitors coming from a certain community than we knew we did, and there's an affordable media marketplace near there, then we'll fish where the fish are and go for more of them. So a little more detail on the ambassador program. There are some basic things that we can do even before the customer service training, and I'd encourage all of you to be some of my first ambassadors by embracing these. When you see the folks wearing the birthday ribbon who are walking around town or getting off the boat and you're lined up for the boat, say happy birthday. A little hard the first couple times you do it, but I'm getting better at it myself. They love it. Their faces light up, and you've given them a memory and an impression of our place that's very special. Imagine going back home and saying, God, 100 people told me happy birthday. They're going to tell that story, and everyone else is going to want to come for that experience. Pick up, clean up, make our place just as beautiful as you can. Annie, I know you go out and walk your dogs early in the morning. I do too. I rarely come home with just the little bag for my dogs. I pick up other stuff along the way, and I'd ask every member of our community to do that too. Trash can placement actually is very significant here. We have lots of opportunities to drop things as you pick them up. So shame on whoever's leaving the litter behind, but let's all make it a little better as we navigate around here. Make those referrals I talked about, and then we'll be announcing that customer service training with the Stimulus Group. And there's a long-standing acronym in the restaurant industry, GUEST, for guest, and I would encourage all of us to embrace the guest mentality. And that's to greet the customer, to understand their needs, to explain features and benefits, to suggest options, and to thank the customer. And not too hard to remember, not a lot different than the rotary four-way test or any of those sorts of things. You repeat it a few times and it starts to stick. And So, if anyone wants, this is a graphic that they can download. It's readily available on websites, and you can just put it by your cash register for any of your staff. So I mentioned briefly the renovations at the Visitors Center. Some of the things that we'll be incorporating in that is the center will evolve into being a walk-in visitor center. We'll have upgraded electrical and computer systems with a flat screen monitor depicting island events and activities. And there'll be a keyboard, too, where they can navigate around that use of that monitor on their own. We'll change how we staff it a little bit in that we'll have always one member of our staff who are not behind the counter but who are actually floaters. They'll be moving around the visitor center, able to help people in person, and be wearing logoed shirt that will help to identify that need. And we'll have room for a lot more display area. We're taking out a whole partition, and we'll have a lot more rack space and business card space for business members. So it should be a much more dynamic environment for our visitors. And they'll be sheltered from the bright sun and sheltered from any inclement weather if we ever get rain again when they're there. And then I mentioned the profile study already. So that's my whole presentation. I didn't bury you in lots of data this time, and I thank you for a few minutes of your time and attention, and look forward to being back here in September for the big annual report.
And just one other question on the remodel. Can people because there's all that nice seating along on the pier, is there Wi-Fi access on the pier?
I don't actually know that. I know that I have Wi-Fi service when I'm on Front Street, but I don't know that I've tried it myself when I'm out on the pier. We have a protected Wi-Fi within the Visitor Center that we do give out on occasion, but it's not free access, so that's something to look into. That's something for the whole community to look into, by the way. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Should I read down there?
You just go ahead. Just the two.
Just go there? Sure, you're there.
So I put something on here, but I was thinking as I typed it that it should be everybody in the room, that everybody who works in a visitor serving industry on the island should stand. But if you think about it, even if you're a plumber, if you're an electrician, if you're an air conditioning service person on this place, we're all touching those people every day one way or another. So
we are.
You're welcome to all stand if you want.
Okay. Julie Yoli, Chief.
Yeah, if you can stand there, that'd be great. So on behalf of the City Council and the City of Avalon, I would like to present this proclamation to the Catalina Island Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau, and I'll read that for you now. Whereas travel has a positive effect on California and the nation's economic prosperity and image abroad, it also impacts business productivity and to individual travelers' well-being. Whereas travel to and within the United States provides significant economic benefits for the nation, generating more than $2.1 trillion in economic output in 2014, with $927.9 billion spent directly by travelers. Whereas travel is among the largest private sector employers in the United States, supporting 15 million jobs in 2014, including 8 million directly in the travel industry and 7 million in other industries. Whereas leisure travel, which accounts for more than 3/4 of all trips taken in the United States, spurs countless benefits for travelers' health and wellness, creativity, cultural awareness, education, happiness, productivity, and relationships. Whereas travel is a pillar of economic growth, creating jobs at a faster rate than any other sector. Whereas revenue generated for the City of Avalon from travel and tourism is approximately $11 million annually. Therefore, we, the Avalon City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of May 1st through the 7th, 2016 as National Travel and Tourism Week, and express our great appreciation for all the employees, members, and supporters of the Catalina Island Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau for the work they do to promote travel to the City of Avalon, dated this 3rd day of May, 2016. Yay.
You are?
Me. Oh, Another proclamation. Come on, Jake. Those who don't know Jason, he's our new hospital administrator. Say hi. And in honor of National Hospital Week, we have a proclamation. Whereas National Hospital Week is May 8th to the 14th, 2016, and the official theme is Healthcare from the Heart. And whereas National Hospital Week originated in 1921 as a community celebration and is now the nation's largest healthcare event, and whereas individuals all across the country will be celebrating this time-honored event, and whereas we commend and applaud the Catalina Island Medical Center for their contribution to the community of Avalon, and whereas the hard-working employees and volunteers at the Catalina Island Medical Center deserve regard and appreciation for providing the care for our community. Now, therefore, we, the Avalon City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of May 8th through the 14th, 2016 as National Hospital Week, and express our great appreciation for all the individuals, facilities, and technologies at the Catalina Island Medical Center that make our trustworthy, reliable health care possible in our community. Thank you.
Can you hear Dudley, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
What's the score?
Okay, let's come out, moving on closer. Whereas the nearly 3.1 million registered nurses in the United States comprise our nation's largest healthcare profession, and whereas professional nursing has been demonstrated to be an indispensable component in the safety and quality of care of hospitalized patients, and whereas the Daisy Award for Extraordinary Nurses is the opportunity to recognize and thank the nurses at Catalina Island Medical Center who devote their lives to quality health care, compassionate services, the safety and well-being of the patients they serve, and whereas along with the American Nurses Association, Catalina Island Medical Center has declared the week of May 6th through the 12th as National Nurses Week with the theme Culture of Safety, It Starts With You. Now, therefore, we, the Avalon City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of May 6th through the 12th, 2016, as National Nurses Week, honoring the registered nurses at the Catalina Island Medical Center, who strive daily to provide safe and high-quality patient care for the residents of Avalon. Dated this third day of May, Avalon City Council. Thank you. Thank you very much.
If I could just have a moment. Someone a little shorter than me was here.
Thanks.
I'd like to thank you all for letting us come here and have these two proclamations, but especially what I'd like to do is on Friday, May 6th, we are going to be having a ceremony at the Metropole where the community and the council members, all of you, are invited to attend and see all of our nurses. We had 11 nominees for the Daisy Award, which is an international award that proclaims their compassion that they serve and the quality of skills that they have in our community. I know in the few months that I have been here in Catalina and Avalon, the passion for healthcare and the community that our nurses have is just absolutely outstanding, and I think there are some really great things to come in the future due to nurses like Janet Siebert here. Thank you.
Thank you.
What time is that? 10:30?
11:30.
11:30?
I think it's 11:30 to like noon or 12:30 or so. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Oral communications. This is an opportunity for the members of the community to speak on items which are not on the agenda. You will be limited to 3 minutes and no action will be taken. Okay.
Good evening. Only because it was a topic and I was sitting here tonight. My name is Tony Bedrovich. I represent the Conservancy, or I'm here, I guess, just for city council reasons. But anyway, I was open to the suggestions, Annie, as you mentioned, or Joe mentioned, and look forward to talking to you at some future point related to any topic that's interesting and the Conservancy can help you with.
Great. Tony, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, consent calendar.
We have 5 items this evening on the consent calendar, and the first one is actions, and I'm just amending that. There was 3 actions on there, and I'm removing the ones from April 19th, so you will only be adopting or approving, I should say, the actions for the regular meeting on April 5th and the special city council actions from April 14th. Number 2 is resolution authorizing the submittal of application for payments and related programs to the Department of Resources Recycling and Recovery. Recommended action is to authorize the resolution designating the city manager the authority to submit the application for payment programs and other related documents. Number 3 is the e-bus and dial-a-ride wrap and decal purchase and installation. Recommended action is to authorize the interim city manager to approve a purchase order in the amount of $8,940 plus sales tax to Gator Wraps Incorporated for the vehicle wrap of 3 e-buses and the decal installation on 2 dial-a-ride vehicles. Number 4 is the Waterside project application for Action Flyboarding. It's an extension. And the recommended action is to allow the Action Flyboarding an extension of time up to May 1st of 2017, if necessary, so they can obtain the required state agency permits, which are ongoing for them. Number 5 is the renewal of renewal of services contract for Pacific Alliance, and recommended action is to approve the contract agreement with Pacific Alliance for a period of 3 years. This contract is subject to renewal and approval by the city attorney and city manager.
Council, is there any items to be pulled?
No, I think I just had one quick question on number 4, if I may ask. Denise, if I understood this correctly, this was just got my answer, so sorry. I misread it. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
So I am good.
Okay. Audrey, you're here. Item number 3. Do we have any pictures of that the community can see what we've done?
Item number 3 is
Your e-bus or wraps?
The wraps.
do I have pictures?
That the community could see what the creation
I
was?
didn't bring them.
I know,
with
that's
me.
okay. I'm sorry.
I would have put them up there, but they're really cool.
No, they're very cool.
We can put them on
and
the
if
city
you,
website.
And if you don't like it, you can blame me. So there you go.
Okay, Jordan just walked in for some reason. What does Jordan know? Oh, you're just getting rid of that? Okay.
He doesn't know anything.
Okay.
I think you like the wraps. I've seen them and they look really good.
They look really good. I would like to pull item 5 just for a little bit of discussion.
Okay.
But, so do we have...
Move staff on 1 to 4.
Second.
Moved and second. Further discussion? Call for the vote. Is that the first vote we had?
It is the first one.
Okay.
Try it again.
Let's try that again now.
Okay. Call for the vote. Okay.
Joe, do you have a button?
Oh, yes.
All eyes. Thank you.
Okay. And on item number 5, which is the renewal of services contract with Pacific Alliance, I'm just curious. There's a database that's somewhere. I guess Lori manages the database.
Yes, Lori has a database.
Okay. Do we give her? I'm not quite sure what all it. I mean, I guess I don't understand it. Do we give her the data and she inputs it, or where is the for example on the saltwater and sewer and solid waste and grease collection fees? We provide that data to her.
Well,
did that come from?
My understanding is if a permit gets approved by the planning commission and then it gets recorded, and it's so if I had a 1-unit place and then it gets made into 2 units, That gets recorded, and we know now that there are 2 units. So the county will start assessing that property for the 2 units, as well as it also goes into our vehicle database, so we know that that property can now have 2 vehicles. Does that answer your question?
So it goes in, the vehicles is another interesting one. So it'll say, okay, now there's 2 units there, so then we know now that they can have 2 golf carts, one for each.
As well as the county being notified, so they know to charge on the property tax bill. That household now has to be charged for 2 sewer, 2 salt water,
Right.
2 trash, if they have grease for the commercial businesses. As well as in the last few years, Lori has worked extremely hard, particularly in this last year, of matching our records up. If our records didn't match what the county said, we were having to hand bill. And I don't know how many we hand billed because it was prior to Bob coming on board. But we have cleaned up a lot. We sent the building inspector at that time out to inspect properties also. Is it perfect? No, but we're trying.
And so on the vehicle thing, though, there's no connection with our vehicle thing. There's no...
Lori originally made that database for us, the vehicle program, all those years back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. What's your question, Mary? I'm sorry.
So somehow that information, then all of a sudden there's 2 units there. Somehow, how does Dudley get that information? So when somebody comes...
Lori does it. She keeps it updated for us, yes.
Okay.
I think the main thing that's, I think the most difficult thing that she does, and it's in section 2C of the agreement, is every time there's a property sold in the city, there's a new owner. She updates that information so that when we send the bills out for the assessments, that it goes to the current owner. And so we don't do that ourselves. She has a system whereby with the county of Los Angeles, whenever there's a property sold, she gets that information, updates it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, not $15,000 is the end of the world. I just, not knowing, you just don't know how much time is actually involved in that throughout the year to do that. I don't know if, or if she's billed by the hour, is that less expensive for, I mean, if she's been doing it this way for a long time, I guess I'm wondering if there's another way to look at it maybe going forward, like an hourly or whatever. I'm just being nitpicky.
Well, we're planning on coming to the council in 3 or 4 months with an RFP for a rate study and a cost of service study, and she'll be extremely involved with assisting an outside consulting firm with our database and her findings through the inspections and what the businesses are like. And that'll be very time intensive. She also indicated that this would probably be her last contract with the city, that she's planning on completing after the 3 years, that would be it.
The 3-year contract.
This contract that we're proposing to renew.
Okay. Alrighty, that was just my question. Okay, council?
Move staff on 5.
Second.
Okay, call for the vote.
All ayes.
Okay. General business. Welcome back.
I'm back. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. This agenda number 6, item before you is the consideration of financial assistance for the hospital generator replacement. In 2014, the medical center was notified by South Coast Air Quality Management District that the hospital's 30-year-old emergency generator did not conform to the air quality standards, and the State Department of Public Health requires the medical center to have an emergency generator. The cost to procure and install the generator was estimated to be around $200,000 a year ago, but it is now, they have a better estimate, and it's up to $340,000. The medical center does not have the working capital right now to complete the emergency generator replacement project. They feel like they can get a grant for the generator itself, which is around $30,000 to $35,000. But they've exhausted their efforts in looking for other funding. And tonight with us is Jason Perret, the CEO, and John Lovrich, the CFO, and they're available to answer any questions you might have about why they are needing financial assistance from the city.
Thank you, Bob.
Hello again.
Hello again.
I appreciate you taking this up as an issue. We definitely, as a small rural hospital, financial cash flows are always an issue for rural hospitals across the nation, and the help and support that the community can provide us will go a long way with us providing care to individuals here.
Comments?
Well, they need a generator. I'm not sure I'm in favor of a grant right now. I might be in favor of a loan, like a 5-year loan with payback at the end, with a small, if any, interest rate.
So you're talking about 40 grand a year?
Yeah. No, I'm talking about
what?
Interest only at 2% or something, and pay it off in 5 years. Let them save their money up. Let them have baked bills.
I like the 40 grand a year idea.
You want to pay it off at 40 grand a year? Or pay it off all at the end?
Well, she said it was 5 years at 40 grand.
Mm-hmm. That's 200,000.
I know, that's why I like 40 grand. I can do math rather quickly.
I'm just saying you got the 200 grand for the 5 years,
right,
and then pay it back. So we're going down the same street.
But
I'm with you, Oli. I mean, the 5-year loan is appreciated.
But if they come back and finally go, oh man, we had a rough 5 years here, and we don't have the money. Now what are they going to do?
I think when they have a goal established 5 years down the road, they will be able to meet the goal. They did that with the CAT scan. They borrowed some money from us and paid us back. I think they can do it. I just don't think they can do it this year.
And there might be other grants out there somewhere too.
They might find some more money
down the road too.
We've been pursuing many different grants,
right?
And a lot of times these grants take partnerships with trying to achieve them, and everybody's time is valuable, and not everybody has the time to go after the grants.
Right.
Have you thought about an outside grants administration company that could go after other grants for a cost of administration fee?
I have not pursued that.
That might be a good idea. Then you don't have somebody on staff who's going after the grant. I'm certainly in favor of a loan. I know this needs to happen for the hospital. We've been talking about this since prior city manager and for several months. But I am not necessarily in favor of paying for the generator, but I want to see you guys get it. So if we can help with a loan, I would certainly be supportive of that.
I kind of like the 40K a year loan, and then because that's maybe doable every year to pay the 40 with no interest, and because I'm a little nervous with the $200,000 because I just don't know what's going to happen with our budget in the next year or two. I mean, we have some issues coming up with water and what impact that might have on us, and sales tax and everything else. So I'm a little nervous about a big chunk up front.
Well, we'll be loaning them the $200,000, and then we just get it back $40,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Would there be a chance to pursue a grant?
Just give them 40 grand a year.
No.
That's right. Well, I'd rather have 40 grand back a year than.
Yeah, we're going to give them the money up front.
Okay, well, let's talk about. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Would it be possible to pursue a grant in the interim after we go ahead and give them the loan, for the city to pursue a grant for the purpose of paying for the generator?
Well, yeah, how possible is it to get a reimbursable grant if you bought the generator?
Within healthcare, I have, in the 20 plus years I've been doing this, I've never seen a grant to pay off a loan. Maybe within the city council realm of grants, there are those types of grants, but not in the healthcare realm.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather get 40 grand back a year than nothing. But, and then, okay, then the question is, do we want to grant any of it just gratis?
I struggle with that after going back through the last year's worth of budget and financial statements and obviously prior conversations that we've had on said topic. So I struggle with granting the funds for it, especially given our own financial situation at the city, but would be most supportive in a loan with a very low interest rate back.
Can I ask a question of Bob?
Yeah, of course. Bob?
Of all of our gazillion dollars in the bank, we're earning about 1% on that, right?
Well, we're earning about 1% on our CDs, and with LAIF it's about 0.5%, and then the amount that we have in our checking account is virtually
Zilch.
nothing. Yes.
So I'd suggest that if we do make the loan, we make it at 1% annual interest rate, which is the same we're earning on our money anyway.
Same.
And I also wanted to emphasize that the original request was for $200,000, but I think they are requesting at least $300 now. I'd let them speak to that. But they may need more than $200.
Oh. Speak to that.
The document states that we originally received a rough draft quote for about $200,000. A year later, after everything had gone through OSHPD, the price had been increased to $340,000.
That seems quite an increase in 1 year. What was that attributed to?
A poorly made first quote. It was just a rough quote, and they didn't take everything into a factor that would need to be done in order to meet the needs of OSHPD.
And they answer to a much higher authority. It's up in Sacramento. It's really pain up there. How long did it take to get your ramp open? Your handicap ramp?
Long time. Due to OSHPD.
Yeah, OSHPD.
Yes. We have to go through the OSHPD process on anything. To kind of give you an idea, just because of going through the OSHPD process, we have to install a heater in our shower room for our long-term care patients. And because of going through this, you would think what it costs you to put a heater in your own bathroom and for it to be safe, it's going to cost us approximately $70,000.
70?
Yes.
There's this office in Sacramento who just loves to make trouble for hospitals.
It's the difference between buying a car engine and a marine engine when you're dealing with a hospital.
Get it. So really, you would like $340,000?
That's why I liked the $40,000 for 5 years.
Admittedly, though, the staff report it doesn't call that. The staff report calls out $200,000 on several different sections here that it can be confusing. So
yeah, fiscal impacts, $200,000 expenditure. Yeah.
So realistically, in a 5-year period, if we lent them $340,000,
$68,000 a year.
68.
And I'm, there is the possibility we are trying to cut certain things out of this that will lower it from $340,000. It probably won't go below $300,000, but it could drop.
So how much do you have?
How much do we have?
I mean, if we said, I'm sorry, we're just not going to be able to help you today at all.
Right.
What?
I think that's a more complex answer than just how much do we have, because we have about 55 days cash on hand, which equates to over $1 million cash. But at this point in time, we've recently had 2 physicians that resigned from the staff prior to my arriving about 4 months ago. It takes 6 months to a year to recruit a physician. When you recruit a physician, when you're down 2 physicians, those are your revenue-producing individuals in a hospital. Anything that is done in a hospital, performing an order, writing a prescription, is done by a physician. When we're down 2 and we're having to go out and get locums, that, you know, some of our locums are more well-known in the community and are productive, but a good share of them are not as productive. You're paying for higher-priced individuals, and you're getting a lower productivity than you would from a physician that is on staff and lives in the community like we're trying to recruit. And so upfront cost for that is extremely high when you're trying to recruit an individual and get them in place in the community. Plus you throw on top of it, we have to redo our fire sprinkle bracing, which is another $152,000. These are our estimates, and of course, you know, as with all estimates, when you're remodeling your house or something, they always go up. We have to install fiber optics into our facility because our internet is so slow that when we're trying to send CT scans or radiology films abroad to a radiologist to read, it often crashes our system. We have to install the heater, which is $70,000. We have to install smoke detectors in our IT, which is another $40,000. So we have a lot of costs in a building that is rapidly falling apart. And so if there is a way that you can help us with improving our cash flows and offsetting some of these costs that we have to put off, it would be greatly appreciated.
Very nicely said.
We should just build a new hospital.
We don't have enough money to make
that. That's. Now I'm going to put on my general counsel hat for the hospital, because eventually there is
That's a
an
conflict,
earthquake.
Scott.
What?
That's a conflict.
We've identified the conflict, but what the issue is there's a earthquake retrofit thing that eventually, about 15 to 20 years, there's a deadline. The state has put on the hospital to upgrade it, and the only way I think that's going to happen is through floating bonds that is going to do it. You know, because that's
There's
going
multiple ways
to
to
be
do it.
millions and millions of dollars.
Yes, and the date that you're speaking of is 2030.
Yeah.
And so you think about, you know, we are kind of going down that process of whether we retrofit or whether we replace the facility, which is a long process, especially when you throw OSHPOD in it. We're looking at, if we were to start planning right now, we're looking at a 3 to 5 year period before we'd even be able to break ground. So when you're looking at it 2030, that means we need to start doing something now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
No, totally. There's urgency.
Would you entertain a motion?
I don't know. I think it needs. Okay. I guess we'll entertain a motion. I don't know if it needs to be good. Let's try the motion. See where that goes.
I move that we loan the hospital $340,000 at an interest rate of 1%, payable in 5 years. If they want to pay it back early, they can do it.
That motion.
Discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Bob.
Is there any impact in pulling money out of the CD? Is there any financial impact for that?
Yes, but we wouldn't need to pull money from
Okay.
the CD. We have other
Okay.
funds in life that we can use. And I think $340,000 loan for 5 years and 1% is a generous contribution to the hospital, and I think that that's feasible for them to repay.
Based on the numbers that Jason just told us and all the stuff that pops up like a heater, I'm a little concerned about $340,000. And so then, okay, so you're saying at the end of 5 years they get a check for $340,000 plus whatever that 1% interest
Oh,
is.
no, they pay us interest annually.
They just pay us.
They make a payment plus interest annually.
They're just interest only, is what he's saying.
Oh, just interest only with
And
a balloon
if they want to
payment
pay more,
at the
they
end?
can. When we loaned them $300,000 for the CAT scan, and they paid it back, and they can. It's a large chunk of change to take out of their checking account right now.
Right, but was your motion not $340,000 with a payable of $68,000 per year?
No, it's
for 5
$340,000 with
years?
payable in 5 years.
Payable in 5 years. Okay.
Joe
One blown.
seconded that.
Is there any use for the old generator? Is it more of a detriment than anything? Is there any value to it?
I do believe we have plans for it. I can't remember what it was, but I'd be happy to donate it to the city.
We're in the AQMD, so we can't take it.
What were our plans?
The fuel, the city's going to take the fuel that we have in there, and we're still looking for a use for the hill generator.
Okay.
Sadly, the generator works perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It's just we are too close with the emissions that it produces to a school when we only run it, on average, about an hour a month to make sure that it works in case power goes down. And we do it after when school's not operating and there are no students around.
But you can't get it relicensed. You can't get a permit to run it any place in the AQMD.
You can't get a permit to run it anywhere here?
Not in LA County.
Okay, probably not even in California. Maybe we could find a place to, no.
It's too old.
It's too old?
We had the same thing in Lake Arrowhead.
Scrap.
We put in a 5-year-old generator, and the state said no.
Scrap yard.
We had to ship it to another state because they have dirtier air.
Well, maybe we can get a motion.
You could just go to Nevada.
Okay.
Okay.
But let's just talk about something else before the call for the motion, if that's okay. Okay, 340 or whatever's less because you'll be going out to bid. Okay. And I would still like to see a little payback because that basically it's a balloon at the end. And I would rather see some money back now and no interest. Some amount. And then balloon the balance at the 5 years.
$20,000 a year?
Where do I sign?
Okay. I'll amend the motion for $20,000 a year repayment with the balance with the balloon at the end with no interest.
So that means you owe us, 20,000 plus,
So they'll pay us $100,000.
and then 240 or whatever the balance is at the end.
That's more than fair. My biggest concern is this period of time when we are down 2 physicians
Right.
and cash flows are in trouble. I'm not concerned about the long-term perspective of the organization, but I know that we have a lot of costs coming up to rebuild the foundation of our organization, to get it to where it needs to be, and helping us through this period of recruiting 2 new physicians will really be beneficial to us.
I spent 8 glorious years on that board.
What's that?
I spent 8 years on that board with the hospital line.
So we have a motion.
Yes.
Can I just reiterate, just make sure I have it? So it's $20,000 a year, balloon payment at the end, no interest.
Yes. Mr. Sampson, okay with you?
Yes.
You made your second?
Yes, I still have my
Further
second.
discussion? Okay, let's call for the vote.
All ayes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I think they're walking away smiling. Bob probably isn't. I know you are. Thank you.
Done.
Okay, well, that's it for general business, and we will be going into closed session.
Yeah, we have 2 closed session items. We have performance evaluation, interim city manager, and we're going to talk about the lease for the Casino Dock Cafe.
And we are back from closed session.
In closed session, the council gave directions to staff on the lease for the Casino Dock Cafe, and no other action was taken.
Thank you. Good night, Tony.
Good night,
Meeting
Tony.
is adjourned.
Hey, Tony.